for you. I am Dr. Mrs. ETENG'S. Of course, I work for the University of Calabar, Computer Applications. It's actually one of the courses that you're supposed to pass. And I'd just like to start by saying that, yes, I know that most of us are actually computer literate, okay? We know how to use our computer systems, and we've been doing that very carefully. But we still need to put this together as a prerequisite for your graduation before you get your degrees. So it is important. And it's an honor today to have my very honorable colleagues, very senior members of the Department of Computer Science. Dr. Etienne is here. Please, I'd like you to welcome him. It's good to have you, Dr. Welcome. He's the tech guy behind all of these things. I call him IEEE. And my very honorable one-time head of Department of Computer Science, and currently the coordinator of this GSS 212, Dr. Ofem is here. Please welcome Dr. Ofem. Having done that, I want to welcome you, honorable students. It's a privilege to have you here. Without you, there will be no classes. So please welcome, and let's do this one. Okay, so in this series of lectures, we're actually going to have 3 sections. At least I'm going to anchor 3 sections. And I have a colleague, Paul Tubuki, who is going to anchor the remaining 2 sessions. And the first session is basic computer operations. Like I said, most of us have already known some of these things, so just take it as extra knowledge, something that you need to add to what you already know. So we're going to be covering parts of the computer system, how do you access the software in your computer system, the booting process, your input devices, parts of the keyboard and parts of your mouse. Very simple things you already know, or that you need to be reminded of and you need to use, in doing your work, your final project work, and all the things you need to do. So we all know what the computer systems look like. The first up there is actually your desktop computer system. Alright? We call it a system because a computer is made up of several parts. Right? So we have several parts. I mean, even in medical school, medicine people are here. The human body is a system. So the computer system is a system because it has several parts that actually have to work together to achieve the intended goal. Beautiful. So you have the monitor, you have your speakers, you have your keyboard, you have your system unit. Don't call it your CPU. The central processing unit is actually inside that system unit. So that tower you see there is what your system unit, and then of course you have your mouse, you have your mouse pad. That also shows a laptop computer. And we see several other peripheral systems, and we see these diagrams in bigger shape. So you can actually see your keyboard, your monitor, and all of that. Now, if you want to start using the computer system, of course, you need to turn it on. It all depends on how your connection is. You always have your source, your power source. Many times we have your UPS, uninterruptible power supply. If you have one, it's beautiful. You have your stabilizer, and you have all of that connected to the computer system. So you turn on all of that, and many times, how do you know where to touch? What button do I press? It's always the most outstanding button on any system unit. Either it's colored differently, or it's a bigger button, or it just placed specially. So that's always the power button. You just turn that on, and the system starts. And of course, you know that that is the booting process. So when you start doing that, your system boots, and then you can actually look for what you want and start using them. Good. When you're through with using your computer system, you follow the reverse process of shutting it down. Whatever applications you had opened, maybe you had opened Microsoft Word, as we're going to open today, you close that, close all applications, and then you shut down your system, turn off the power, and then in the reverse order, you turn off everything. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. Now, let's look at some input devices. Like we mentioned, we have our keyboard, and then we have the mouse. And we have the keyboard, it's just an enhanced version of the typewriter keyboard. So if you had learned a bit of typewriting before now, it's still the same ASDF, semicolon, LKG, and all that. It's still that same placement of keys, but with several other sections on the keyboard that the computer scientists or that the computer users actually use. So we have the alphanumeric keypad that contains the alphabetic keys and of course the numeric keys. We have the function keys from F1 to what? F1 to what? I'm not hearing you. F1 to what? You're very smart students. Beautiful. F1 to F12. And then we have our cursor movement or our control keys. And then we have our numeric keypad. So if, for instance, you visit the bank, you'd always notice that the people on the bank are always fiddling on this side of the keyboard because most times that's where the numeric keypad is. And they actually activate that by pressing the nums lock key on. So if you want to start working with the numeric keypad, you press your what? Nums lock, and that comes on. So these are the keys, and these are special keys, function keys. For instance, F1 is always used for help, and it also depends on where you are. Are you in Microsoft Word? Are you, using a programming language to do your programming? So you always find out that these keys, you can use them or you can combine them with several other keys to give you specific functions. They have them moving from F1 to F12. The details of this are actually there. So that's how these keys are placed. You can see the numeric keypad I told you on the right hand side of the screen. You can see the alphanumeric keypad. You can see your function keypad. And it is worthy to note some important keys that you may have to use many times, all right? So you see your cap locks. If you want to type in uppercase, what you call capital letters, we call that uppercase. You just do what? It's a toggle key. You just press it. You press it once, it toggles. When you type, it will come out in uppercase or capital letter. Are we together? When you get to the lab, you're actually going to do all of this. So I'd like you to pay keen attention because the lab is getting ready for you. When you sit down, you're going to practice all of these things. Are we still together? Yes. Okay, good. So you have your cap locks key, your space bar, of course, like the name implies, it allows you to have space. You want to put spaces between your letters for readability, you press your space bar, and then you want to enter another line if you're in a word processor, you press what? Your enter key. Now the shift key, you can actually always use it in combination with several other keys to do whatever it is that you want to do. You press down your shift and press other keys and have whatever specific functions you want to do. There are several other important keys that we have on your keyboard, and we're seeing that out there. So that's your keyboard there. All of those keys are listed, so it's good for you to take note of them. Your shift key, your control key, your tab key, your escape key. Your escape key is just like the name implies, you want to escape. You're in a particular place or you've done something, you've changed your mind about doing. You just do what? You press escape and it will take you one step backwards to where you came from. You can scroll down, you can go home, takes you to the beginning of the page depending on where you are at the beginning of the line, and then you can go page up. That means one page up if you're in a word processor like Microsoft Word, and then you can go one page down, and of course there are several other keys. So that's about your keyboard. Remember, it's made up of several parts. Your alphanumeric keypad, your numeric keypad, you remember, your control keys, and then your cursor movement keys. Don't forget that. Now, it was good for me to have mentioned that your keyboard is actually a character device. Please take note of that. Your keyboard is what? A character device. That means it allows you to type a character at a time. Are we together? But when you're using your mouse, we see the mouse as what? A pointing device. It allows you to do what? Point at objects and take note of the things you want to do. Either you want to click or you want to right click. Now let me quickly explain. Of course you already know this. So let's just go down and see the diagram of the mouse. Now that's the mouse. Of course it looks like a little mouse in your picture, doesn't it? Beautiful. It even has a tail. So that's what your mouse looks like. And many times you put it on the mouse pad to allow the movement to be smooth. You can do without it, but it's always good to put your mouse on the mouse pad. And then, when I was growing up and we started using computers back in the day, most of the mice, of course you know the plural of mouse is mice. Most of the mice we used then had 3, compartments, not like these recent ones that have just 2. Okay, so the modern mouse actually has two parts in front. You see your primary mouse button and your secondary mouse button. Or you could say your left mouse button and your right mouse button. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes.
Beautiful. Now, whenever you're using your mouse and you're scrolling through, you always click the left mouse button most times, because that's actually where your index finger points. So when you click the left mouse button once, we just call it clicking. It means you're clicking. Are we together?
Yes.
When you click the right mouse button, for whatever reason you want, maybe you want context-sensitive help in a particular environment, wherever you are, you can click your left mouse button. So clicking the left mouse button, we call it what? Left click. You can do several things, of course, with your mouse. Several things. You can click, like I said. You can double click, take note of them. You can select or highlight. Maybe you want to select some text in a word processor. So you just press down your left mouse button and roll it across the text that you want to select. We're going to do that when we go to Microsoft Word. I'll be demonstrating some of that for you to see. Are we together?
Yes.
So please, let's just listen. When we start, I'll be toggling my screen, so you'll be seeing how that is done. So you can actually select or highlight with your mouse, okay? You can double click. Now when we mean double click, it means that you click your left mouse button twice in quick succession. Don't forget that.
Yes.
Now you click one, go to work market, come and click the second time and say I double clicked. That's not double clicking, that's two single clicks. Are we together?
Yes.
So if you want to double click, you click your left mouse button very fast in quick succession. Now, the question is, sometimes as you use your mouse, you find out that it comes up in different shapes. You see different shapes of your mouse. So if you look at your screen, please do, you notice that there are several shapes that your mouse can actually, come up with. See that very first one? Okay, see, it looks like an eye, so we call it what? An eye beam. Have you seen that? Okay, so when does your mouse show up in that way? Who knows? Who has an idea? Have you ever seen your mouse show up like that? When
When you
you
want
see
to
your mouse
type.
show up like that? Anyone?
When you want to type.
When you want to type, beautiful. So many times you want to type, you just see that and that tells you, oh, you're ready to work.
Right.
Very beautiful. Now the next one is a crossbar. When you see that, when it's possible for you to actually hold something and drag. Okay,
yes,
it shows up as what? A crossbar. Now when you see that other double arrow, it means you can actually either increase, enlarge, or reduce. Most times, maybe a diagram. Are we together? Beautiful. And then when you see the last but one, that hand, what does that mean? The hand. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
To click. To click.
To select an option, especially when that option is a hyperlink. Okay? A hyperlink is a URL that when you click, it will open up to another site, maybe a page, or a website. Are we together? So most times when you're on the internet or when you have a document that has hyperlinks, most times when you scroll through an hyperlink, it changes color to what? To blue. Have you noticed? To blue. Good. So you see that the mouse will change and it will be looking like what? A hand. And when you click that, it can take you, to another page. And finally, when you see that hourglass, we call it an hourglass. The computer is simply telling you, I'm still doing something. Please wait for me. Give me some more time. All right? Maybe it's trying to load a page. It will show you like an hourglass. Please give me some more time. Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
It's as simple as it is. Somebody may wonder, these are things that we already know, but my experience, even in the last CBT, I don't know, I may be wrong, but the percentage of students that couldn't actually move their mouse and do their work for me was about 20 or so percent. Good. Now, how do you organize information into files? We've looked at our devices, we've looked at the mouse, we've looked at the keyboard. And frankly, when you want to start using your computer system, you must be able to put your stuff together nicely. When you type a document, for instance, you save it, isn't it? Why do you save it? You want to be able to use it again some other time. Isn't that?
Yes.
So you want to commit it to some secondary memory, maybe to the hard disk or to your external hard drive or to your, whatever device it is you have, your flash drive and all of that. Good. Now, when you save that document, we call it in computer science a file. It is called what? A file. Now, the file often would have a file name, right? And an extension and an icon. So the extension of a file always tells you the origin of that file. For instance, someone tells me, my name is Ememeko. I obviously know you're from Akwa Ibom or Cross River State, isn't it? But if you say that your name is Benga, and you say, but I'm from Akwa Ibom, then I'm going to wonder, how did you do that? Because your surname or your name looks like you're not from there. So what I'm simply saying is that a file extension tells you the origin or the root or the type of file that you're actually dealing with. Are we together?
Yes.
So if it is a Word document, you have .doc. Shows you that it is what? A document. An Excel file .xls. If you go into programming for the computer science students, PAS is a Pascal file. CPP is a C++ file. JAV is a Java file. So file extensions always tell you the root of the file. But many times, in the Windows operating system, all you see is just the file name, the main name of that file, and that is fine. And many times you see that icon. The icon is just some picture that represents that file, where you created that file from. So if it's a Word file, depending on the version of the Microsoft Word you're using, you either see a blue W, do you see that? That shows that this is what? A Microsoft Word file. Are we together?
Yes.
For Excel, someone should tell me, what does an average Excel file look like? What color?
Yellow.
Green. Someone said green. Beautiful, and that is right. So most times you see a green X. When you see a green X, it shows that that is what? An Excel file. Are we still together? Are we together? I like to get feedback from you. I like a very interactive class. So I like to look you in the face and tell me you're following or not. Okay. So that talks about files. But when you now start making so many files, it can become cluttered everywhere. You need to be able to organize your computer system. And the way we do this is that we begin to create folders. What did I say we create? Folders. If you learn the older operating systems like Microsoft Word, MS Word, we talk about directories, it's the same thing. So a folder is like a conventional file. It's a location where files are kept. So you can have a folder that contains several files. Please take note of that. A folder is a location where what? Files are kept. So you can have a folder that contains several files, a folder that contains no files, a folder that contains several folders. So these folders inside that folder are called subfolders. Are we together?
Yes.
It's like a house. I can tell you, please, will you go to my house and bring for me a pair of socks? But when you get to the house, please, the pair of socks is inside a drawer. Alright? That drawer is a subfolder in my house. Are we together?
Yes.
So it depends on your organization skills and how you actually want to organize all of these things. You can have, your files organized into folders. In this operating system, which is your Windows operating system, you see that your folders show up as what? Yellow folders. You see that most times it is what? Yellow in color. So, let's see how we can do some of these things. Now let's say that this is my document. I already have a lot of things on my document. Or let's say that I want to create a folder for this class. And I want to call it maybe GSS 212. A quick way to actually do that is just to click my left mouse button. For me, I'm using a pad, not a mouse. It's the same thing. Now it will show you several options. You see some options? Can you see some of them? Can you read some of them out for me? Sort by, view, group by. Have you seen all of them? Beautiful. What we are looking for is new, because we want to create a new folder. Are we together? So when you want to see how you can create a new folder, you do that. And then you can just click that new. And then it shows you several options, because you can actually create several things, not just a folder. So you can actually click that folder, and then it will open and give you a default name. Have you seen that folder it has created for me? It gives it a default name, new folder. And then you decide what name you want. Like I said, you want to call it what? GSS 212. So I type the name I want, and after that, what do I do? No, I press enter. I press what? Enter. Beautiful. So when I press enter, you see that that folder has been created for you. Are we together?
Yes.
And then if you want to see what's in that folder, what would you do? You click it how many times? You
Double click.
You're very smart student. You do what? You double click. So you just double click, and then you notice that it shows you the path to that folder. That path is on my PC. So you see PC, please look up. You see PC, you see documents, because I created it in my document. And then you see the folder name, GSS 212. Do we have anything in that folder yet?
Not.
No, because we just created it. It's a new folder. Are we together?
Yes.
It's as simple as that is. Now let's go back and continue. So that's one thing you can do. You can create what? A folder. And we're going to use that folder, because when we create a simple document, we're going to put it in that folder. Now, another thing we have here that you can actually want to do is that you can open and print a document. What did I say?
Open and print a document.
I like it when I hear your voices like this. So, now let's see. I actually created a document in Word for this class yesterday. I haven't got you Word yet, but I am just going to open that document. When we go to Word, we're going to create our own document, or we're going to work on this document and make it look better. But that is what that document actually looks like. Have you seen that document? I have opened a document. Okay? Now, that document, you can actually do several things to it. What I just want to show is that you can do what? Print. So if you want to print, what do? You just saw there. I clicked on file, because it's in file there, and then you look for the option you're looking for. What option are you looking for? Print. So you do what? You click your print. When you click print, it will show up a dialog box and ask you questions. Questions that you should answer. How many copies do you want to print? What type of printer do you want to connect? Now don't forget that before you do this, you must have connected this to what? A printer. Are we together? Do you remember your different types of printers? You still remember? Can you tell me one of them? Your LaserJet printer, beautiful, very smart students. So your LaserJet printer, which other printer do you remember? Your DexJet, beautiful. So you can choose any of those printers that you have connected your work to. Okay? If I click here, I have several printers. You mentioned LaserJet, so I have a LaserJet printer in my office, and that's HP LaserJet Professional. And then I could just, the copy is one. If I want one copy, I leave it at one, and then I just click on print, and it will do what? It will print the job for me. Are we together? Did everybody understand that? Good. Now, so that's as simple as that is. So Microsoft Word is a word processor. What did I say it was? It allows you to process words. It allows you to type. It allows you to edit. It allows you to format. It allows you to do many things you want to do on documents. Documents such as your letters, your books, your journal articles, your manuscripts, newsletters, your church programs, Sunday school teachings, whatever it is that can be printed out. You can do it with Microsoft Word, except you really need very complex graphics, then you may have to use a graphic software. But Microsoft Word is good enough to do a few things that you do. Now, like I said, the reason for which we teach this as a GSS course, a General Center Study course, is that it is important for our students to be able to become entrepreneurs. So in your final year, you don't need to pay someone to type your project for you. How many of you would type your project yourself? Wow. You didn't show my students. Please show them. All their hands are up. Put your hands up again. So all of these students are going to type their project themselves. It's not difficult at all. Okay? So all you need to do is start your Microsoft Word, and I showed you how to start your Microsoft Word. Just go to Start button, look for it, go to look for it, or find it from all programs, and then that screen just shows, and then you can start your work. Now don't forget, like every window in the Windows operating system, you would always see your buttons. You see your tabs, you see your Office button. Now this depends on the version of the Microsoft Word that you're using. You see your dialog boxes and the rest of the things that you would see. You'd see your menu options coming up. Let's just go very quickly and do some work. You have mentioned all of this, how to make things bold and all of that. So let's quickly just go to that document that I had already typed for you and see what we can do. Now remember, I'm using escape. Remember I said, if you're where you don't want to be, you just press what? Escape. And it will take you back to where you want to be. So this is a letter I typed yesterday. And if you know letter writing a bit, is there anything wrong with this letter? What's wrong with that? The address is not where it should be. Good. So what can you do? You can actually align it to where you want. Where do you want to align it to? To your right. Beautiful. So you want to align it to your right. So one quick way you can do, remember I said you can do what? Select. Are we together? You can select that, and if you don't mind it just being this way, you just click that align button and it quickly does what? Aligns it for you. Okay? So you've been able to align that. And then you may want to make your letter look a little better. So you may want to make the title of that letter bold. Are we together? It has to stand out. So you may want to select that too. And then several ways you can make it bold. What's one way to do it? You go to that B and just press B, okay? What else would you do? What's the shortcut key for bold? Control B. So you could have done what? Control B. Okay? And then I noticed that something is conspicuously missing here. You know, there is no salutation. So class rep, quickly, just come and type DSR on that screen for me. Quickly, just go there and type. That's why your class rep. Okay? So just type DSR and then. So it's very simple, and these are things that we expect you to do when you get to the lab. So when you get to the lab, we expect you to be able to, you know, turn on your systems, you know, find any program you want to find. Thank you. Find any program you want to find. Be able to manage your files. Why are you laughing at my class rep? Class rep, don't mind them. Okay. Don't mind them. He likes his DSR in uppercase. Thank you. So he wants it uppercase. Do you have a problem with that? Okay, so you just type whatever it is you want to type, okay? If you don't like what he did, you can actually select it and change it to either lowercase or italize the first word. So I can go here. Did you see that? That is called the change case. So I could actually click on the change case, and then what case do you prefer? Capitalize each word. So that looks better, isn't it? And then you have that. So we already have that on the line. We already have our letter. And then you may want to, you know, centralize or align centrally the body of the letter. So you just select it, and then you click which button? That center align button. And then you're good. You're gone. So that's a simple way to use your Microsoft Word and several other things. Once you know the basics, you can actually, you know, keep doing beautiful things with your Microsoft Word. Like I said, you have 2 more sessions left, so I'm going to have the pleasure of welcoming Mr. Paul Bookie to come and continue. Would you please give me a round of applause? Thank you. Please ask. How many keys on the keyboard? It depends on the computer you're using, but averagely we have between 103 to 107 keys on a typical keyboard. right? Between 103 to 107 keys. So if they ask you, you take the upper limit, 107. All right? Is that okay? Beautiful. Any other question? Yes, please. Oh, because most human beings are right-handed. And because you're right-handed, I told you that what clicks that left is your index finger. So it's easier for you to just flip it down because you're right-handed. If you're a left-handed person, you can actually configure your keyboard to make you work better. But most people, I think 90% of people in the world or more, are actually what? Right-handed. So it's easy for you to just press down and then it clicks. Yes, please. No. Your left mouse button works a bit differently. Most times when you're anywhere and you click your left hand button, it shows you context sensitive help. That means I'm in this environment, these are things I can do here. So it doesn't necessarily do the same thing that your left button does. Your left button helps you to point, select, drag, and drop. You can also point with your left button, but it will kind of select what you want to do. So it just behaves a little different. Beautiful questions. Any more questions? Yes, please. Classroom. Please, who knows the shortcut key for refreshing?
F5.
Eh?
F5.
F5. We always tell you that. How many of us wrote this? Okay, you didn't write. You've not written the CBT yet. Did you write the CBT? You wrote CBT. Did you hear me going around every time your system has a problem? I tell you, press F5. I was simply asking you to do one refresh. So, classroom. That's it. Any more questions? Thank you so much. Give yourself a good round of applause.
So everyone, thank you so much. I mean, we can't say thank you enough. I can't say thank you enough. Thank you for watching this video. I mean, if you're still here, it means you watched it to the end. I want to please ask you to subscribe, to like, to share, to hit your notification bell so that when next we post new videos, you can be notified about them. Keep watching our videos. God bless you.